Welcome to the Glenn Mercer Show, where we talk all things vegan. If you're not already vegan, no worries, we'll get you there. If you are, tune in for health advice, information on climate change, and all the damage done by our most destructive industry, animal agriculture. We'll also talk cooking, theater, film, and culture. My 2 reasons for starting this podcast: to entertain, to inform, and to make people vegan. Oh, that's 3. Shit. Welcome to the Glenn Mercer Show. You can find us across all your favorite podcast platforms. You could find us on YouTube. Please remember to subscribe. And you could find us at realmeneatplants.com. My special guest today is my good friend Meryl Fury. Meryl is the president and CEO of the Plant-Based Nutrition Movement. That's pbnm.org. She's been a registered nurse specializing in public health for over 30 years, and she's a member of the American College of Lifestyle Medicine. Meryl, welcome to the show.
Hey, Glenn, how are you? It's good to see you.
I am fine.
Good.
And Meryl, you are also one of the founders of a new organization.
Yeah.
Shall we talk about that for a moment?
Yeah, thanks for opening that. Sure. Yeah. The new organization is called the Sage Circle Alliance, SCA for short. And it is an organization designed to bring together healthy vegans and whole food plant-based entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and change makers to try, and I'm not even going to say try, because we are going to shift the paradigm that all of us were born into, which talks about scarcity and competition and lack, and instead shifted toward abundance and cooperation and collaboration and trying to make a difference for the planet, the people, and the animals that live on the planet.
The
So,
Sage Circle Alliance.
yes.
And you are one of the co-founders thereof.
Yes, my co-founder, who is not here with me, is Paul Chatlin of Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group, physically located in the, like Detroit area in Michigan. And we have, I don't know, right now I'm going to say about 30 other organizations, individuals, and for-profits, nonprofits who are all interested in the same thing. We realize that working in silos and not collaborating puts us at a disadvantage, especially as if we're a small business, which most of us are. We could be solopreneurs, or maybe we have 2 or 3 people, or we're a low budget nonprofit. To work in silos doesn't forward the mission very well. It really doesn't. So if we can collaborate and expand our reach and link arms and share resources, we can get farther. There's that African saying that says something like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So
That's a good saying. I didn't
yeah,
know that.
we're here to go together.
All right. So the Sage Circle Alliance launches when?
Starts for public view May 1st.
All right.
Yeah, so we've been working on it for about a year. Paul and I and a few other dedicated people have joined us along the way. Glenn being one of them, which we so deeply appreciate. Um, yeah, so we've been working on it for about a year, building the infrastructure and, coming up with ground rules and mission and vision and building the website and all those things that go into creating anything these days. And yeah, literally in May, it'll be 1 year. So yeah,
Okay.
we're pretty excited to get it launched. It'll be
Now, the subject for today is healthy children, growing healthy children. Now, I don't have any kids. I have met some children along the way.
and you were a kid once,
I think so.
still
Yes.
are in some ways.
So, I've developed some insights about children that I will share. I've noticed that many of them are shorter than I am, for example.
Mm, mm.
There are things I've learned. Um, Tell us about the challenges of getting kids to eat healthy. And I'm guessing one of the challenges is their parents.
That's a tremendous challenge. It's a big one. So this is a really big story. Big, big, big. It's a whole world, right? Child nutrition. People go to school and get PhDs in child nutrition, and then they spend many, many years after that working in the field. So we're not going to go into that deep of a conversation, but we can hit the high spots.
On the Glenn Mercer show, we specialize in shallow conversation. So that'll be fine.
Well, shallow is good. You can
Yeah.
tap your toe in the water and,
Yeah.
take a deeper dive later on.
Yeah.
So, so I'm a public health nurse by not so much by education. I did not specialize in public health in nursing school, but after school, I came out and I went right into public health. And one of the things that I realized over years of working with families, and mostly in public health, we work with families who have very limited resources, is that the children are always, I mean, this is so obvious, but children are always at the mercy of the people around them and the environment, right? They don't have any autonomy. They don't have any agency. They don't have any authority. They literally are at the mercy of whatever wind blows through. In that way, because our society tends to eat poorly and the food system tends to promote foods that do not promote health, children get really, really the worst of the nutrition in the society. And that doesn't matter if it is a child from a well-off family or a child whose family is struggling. It doesn't matter if the parents are married or if they finish college or if they have a dog or if they go to church or if they eat dinner together every night. Children very often get very poor quality food. And this is tearing at the fabric of our society. The numbers of children, and of course, this goes without saying, but I do have to say it. Children grow up to be adults, right? They don't stay 5 years old and 6 and 7 forever. They grow up. So as we feed children poor quality foods and they develop illnesses early, which we are seeing, higher rates of cancer among young people, higher rates of high diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, all these illnesses.
Yeah. And we used to call it adult onset
We
diabetes, but we
used to,
can't
type
call
2
it that anymore.
diabetes. Type 2 diabetes used to be adult onset diabetes, and now it is not. Type 1 used to be juvenile, right? Now it is not necessarily. So, and a lot of these illnesses, these chronic illnesses are related to lifestyle. It's related to the kind of food that we are eating or feeding to our children. Sadly, the average child spends something like, at least in this country, 5 to 7 hours in front of some kind of a screen every day. So that has two impacts. It means that they're not moving, they're not outside running up and down, right? For all kinds of reasons, including screen time. And they are getting marketed to relentlessly, right? Because for the most part, if they're in front of a screen, there are going to be ads coming through the screen. They might be pretty subtle in the form of, let's say, if they're watching a video game, it might be that there's some conspicuously placed item on the screen or in the game. There might be literal ads in the games. It could be that if they're watching a video, there's commercials, there are other conspicuously placed products in the videos. They're just being marketed to relentlessly, and there's not a whole lot of oversight. One, and the companies that are doing these marketing, doing the marketing are very, very clever, very, very slick in how they are showing these products to children and associating joy and connection and all kinds of things with these products. And the children take that in like it's true. Like, yes, if I have a Big Mac, it'll make me happy today. This is a happy meal. I can go have that and I'll be happy, or there's just so many different things. It's fun. I can eat sugar pops or Dora the Explorer cereal, and it's all very joyful. But it's also contributing to their long-term illness, actually deteriorating their health. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's something. It's something for us all to confront. As parents, we're trying to do the best by our children. I can tell you, as a 30 plus year veteran of as a public health nurse and going into people's homes and working in clinics, I have never ever had a parent tell me, I wish my child struggled with obesity. I hope my child has heart disease. I can't wait to see them deal with diabetes. Oh my goodness, I've never seen it.
Right.
But still, we are, as parents, and in a certain form of ignorance is bliss, or not knowing, or um just going along with what's easy, we are contributing to these kinds of problems in our children.
Yeah. The sad thing is that I feel, and I'll bet you feel, and a lot of people feel, that it was in many ways easier to be a kid when we were kids. I mean, society is not moving forward when you have to say to kids, oh, life was better in the old days.
Yeah.
But, when I was in high school or college, I could sit somewhere on a bench and read a book, and I wouldn't get texts, I wouldn't get bothered. Um, uh, Maybe a friend would walk by and I would interact with somebody in person, but it wouldn't be this constant uh, addiction to a screen.
Yes, yes, very true.
And yet it's so hard. Imagine being in high school today and saying, I'm not going to get a smartphone.
Right.
You know, I'm sure there must be some kids out there who do that, but they're the very, very small minority. Everybody feels compelled to get a smartphone, and then they get addicted to YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or
Yeah, or
Facebook,
some video game that they play
yeah, or
online. Yeah.
video games. And it's kind of hard to imagine life being as interesting when you're doing that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you I can make an analogy to diet in that when I became a vegetarian at 17, I just didn't care what anybody thought. I said, I'm not eating meat anymore.
Right.
And for me, the reasons were health, not that there was anything wrong with my health, but that all my relatives were dying of heart attacks. Um, and I just made up my mind and I did it, and it meant that I stood apart a little bit. If there was some kind of uh, party where everybody was having spaghetti and meatballs, well, I couldn't have the meatballs. Um,
Right.
so I didn't mind standing apart. In fact, I viewed that as, I guess, something of an advantage. I like standing apart.
Right. Right.
But it's not the way apparently most people think. And so they now to, if I were in high school today, I think I'd say, I'm going vegan and I'm not going to have a smartphone. You have to stand apart in more ways.
Yeah. Well, now, the kids are marketed to about fear of missing out. Don't miss out. And if you don't have a smartphone, you might miss something important, something
Yeah.
valuable, something that all your friends are going to be talking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's that too. I was similar to you. I started this whole plant-based journey when I was 15. So I carved, mammals out of my diet at that age. And then, slowly whittled other animal products out of my diet over time. And I remember that feeling of standing apart, of being one of the only. Now, as I got older, that became something that I like. I like, that's something I treasure, right? I'm frequently the only one of whatever it is wherever I go. Very often, right? I'm just the only one. So we could start with I might be the only one wearing beads in my hair. That's pretty common. Or I might
Uh-huh.
be the only one. For a long time, I was the only African American nurse where I worked. And so being the only one wherever I am is part of how I recognize myself.
I
But
am so glad I took the beads out of my hair right
you know
before this
what?
podcast. Yeah.
You better,
Yeah.
because I'm the only one allowed. Anyway,
Right.
yeah, but there's something to be said for being able to stand apart
Right.
and not get sucked into the or indoctrinated into, let's say, a lot of the stuff that is actually detrimental for us in the long run.
Yeah. So how do kids learn to eat a healthy diet when in fact their school lunches could be miserably unhealthy, their parents could be eating in an unhealthy way, they're being marketed to by, McDonald's and fried
Coca-Cola,
chicken
yes,
places. And
yes.
how do you cut through all that to learn to eat human food?
Wow. Well, that is such I hate to say this, sounds like a cliche, but it really is a good question, right? Because,
I try to do one per show.
you nailed it. That one
Thank
nailed
you.
it.
I could relax now.
You can go back to bed.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's really challenging when the parents are also heavily marketed to, and the parents maybe are working a full-time job, or in some cases, parents are working a full-time and a part-time, or they're working three part-time jobs or whatever, right? Um, Energy is at a premium then, and the amount of time I have to prepare decent food is at a premium. It's very short, right? So people are doing things and choosing food based on convenience and what I can get done quickly, and turn around and give the child, and the child will have a full belly and I can go on to the next thing. So that's one thing. So there's probably several answers to your question. One is, as you are doing, do your best to educate the adults in the room, right? That's one thing. That's very important. Separately, though, if we can get programs into schools that give children the experience of healthy food. So I am grateful to say, honored to say, that I have the opportunity to go into schools, or I'll go into boys and girls clubs. I go into summer camps, anywhere there's children already accumulated and I don't have to do that part. I'll go in and speak with the kids and give them experience of eating black beans and rice, which is one of my favorite things in the world, or tomatoes, blueberries, broccoli, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, whatever it is, right? And we try to all colors, right? Purple cabbage, make all colors, yellow squash, all colors. And just give the children a chance to eat these things and try these things, because a lot of kids literally do not eat a fresh fruit or a fresh vegetable in the course of a 7-day period. There was a study that was published. I'm going to say it was a year ago in February, that talked about, it was published by the CDC, and it was saying that I believe it was 1 in 2 children, if I'm remembering the statistics right, 1 in 2 children did not get a fresh fruit in 7 days, and 1 in 3 didn't get a vegetable, or maybe it was the reverse of that. But either way, they're not getting nearly enough fruits or vegetables. And the way the study was done, they asked the parents to do a 7-day recall of what the children had eaten in the previous 7 days. So the study did not show, as far as I recall, if it was the kids hadn't had a fruit or vegetable in 7 days, or was it also the previous 7 days? Did it include the previous 7 days? So was it 7 days or 21 days? Was it 7 days or 7 months that the children hadn't had a vegetable? There's also information, this is available, I think this came from the Journal of the American Medical Association, that children are getting 67% of their calories from ultra processed foods. And that was in 2018. That's just appalling. It's
Yeah.
appalling. So, back to your question, giving children the experience of eating these foods, which they literally may not have a chance to ever even try, is a big step in getting them to think, oh, I could eat carrots. I could ask for an apple. Oh, there are different kinds of apples. Different apples have different flavors. I could eat beans. There are different kinds of beans. There's different kinds of grains, to start them thinking in a different way about what food is. When I go into a classroom, one of the most important things in the way I like to start is just ask the kids, what is food? What is it? Why do we eat? Do we eat just to fill our bellies? Well, sometimes. But is that why your body wants food? What does your body want when you're hungry? What it wants is nutrients. It doesn't want red dye number 40. It's not asking for that, right? It's not asking for, whatever, blue dye 10 or, whatever, monosodium glutamate. It's not asking for that. It's asking for nutrients to nourish the tissues and your brain and, all that. So I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rattling on, but
Well, here's my next piercing question.
go.
Now, when you talk to these kids, and the answer may depend upon their age, do you simply try to introduce them? And importantly, I don't want to minimize it, but do you importantly just try to introduce them to healthy foods, or do you address the opposite side of that? Meat is unhealthy,
Mm,
dairy is unhealthy, sugar is unhealthy, fried foods are unhealthy. Do you talk about that, or is that a little bit beyond the pale, or it depends upon the age?
well, generally speaking, I am just there to give them experience of healthy food. I
Hmm.
am not passing judgment on what they may be eating at home.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to remember, not every, just like we said, the parent may only be providing processed foods or McDonald's or Burger King or Pizza Hut or whatever it is, right? Toaster pastries. That's sometimes what the child is getting. So we don't ever want to make it seem like you're eating bad food and your parents are giving you bad food. And, that'd make a child feel pretty sad if
Yeah.
if that's the message we're delivering. We have to be
Yeah.
careful about that. It's a little bit of a fine line to walk, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to have some child feel bad about their home situation.
Right.
So I just give them experience of these foods. And we talk about, like I said, what is food? Why do we eat? What do we get from food? Why do we need to eat the rainbow? How does fiber? What is fiber? Why is that important? How does what we eat affect the world around us? How does it, okay, let's sit down and have a meal here together. What can we do over the table besides look at screens? How about we have a conversation, right? So that's the type of stuff that I bring in. Like I said, I try not to bring in the whole thing about meat is bad and sugar is bad. Now, that being said, depending upon the age, and right now I'm going to say they're averaging around 10 years old, fourth and fifth graders. Um, they may ask the questions.
Yeah.
Is eating cheese healthy? I had a child ask me that. Well, cheese can cause problems for your heart, right? It puts a lot of fat in your body. So if it was me, I would not eat that. I do not eat that. But then if they came back and said, well, my parents think cheese is good, okay, well, your parents have a right to say that. Your parents are the ultimate, the people responsible for you. So you do what your parents say. I would never undermine a parent's authority with a child.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
fine
the
line to walk.
problem, of course, because the parents are often making the
Yes.
mistakes themselves.
Yes. Yes. The parents have been well indoctrinated too.
Yeah,
Even the grandparents have been well indoctrinated too. It can be
yeah,
quite generational. I'm here in Wisconsin. This is one of the dairy states. It used to be the dairy state, right? So we have children here who their parents are dairy farmers.
yeah,
Well, okay, that's a tough one to go up against. I'm not going up
yeah,
against that fact.
yeah,
We're not having that argument.
yeah,
But you can try this broccoli. How about
yeah,
that? Try it. Try.
yeah.
Oh, look, these are mangoes. Try these mangoes. These delicious.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I handle it.
Now tell us what's going on in Illinois with the school lunches.
Yeah. So thanks for asking about that. The school lunch law changed the beginning of this school year. So um, I, I I hesitate to give the date, but it was August of 23. The new law went into effect, right? And it says that a child can or their parents can request a plant-based lunch from the local school district and receive it. And that includes the milk component, which is new, right? Up till now, you couldn't really get plant-based milk in schools on an average day in the average location. So in Illinois, the children can or the parents can request the plant-based lunch and it would include soy milk. Interestingly enough, I heard about this law because it was, somebody announced it on NPR or something like that. And then I never heard about it again. It got very quiet. There was no conversation about it. Even people I know in the whole food, plant-based, vegetarian parent realm never heard about it. It's been very, very quiet. So we've been working with another group called Balanced, which is a nonprofit, and another group called Good Chaos. And we are working together to bring awareness to this law so that parents could actually at least have the opportunity to opt in for plant-based lunches for their children if they knew about it. So our goal is to bring awareness. We have a website up that is called More Plants on Plates, Illinois, moreplants-on-plates.com. And it explains a little bit about the law. There's a form that the parents or the child, if they're in high school, the child can fill it out that says, I'm requesting a plant-based lunch. It gives the name, the school district, what days per week do they want the plant-based lunch. So just to make it easier for them, should they be interested.
Okay.
Yeah, we're also working with maybe 5 or 6 schools in the state of Illinois who have chosen to take on providing a fully plant-based lunch at least one day a week for all people on campus who are eating lunch. So that's another thing which we feel is a major accomplishment. One of the schools, for example, is the Academy for Global Citizenship, which is in Chicago. They already are a pretty progressive program, and they already do provide a lot of plant-based meals for their kids. So we're just like going to be reinforcing and giving support to what they're doing. I'll be speaking at their professional development day on Monday, actually, to help support the team cohesion for more
You
plant.
mentioned an organization called Good Chaos. That's
Yeah.
an intriguing title. Well, tell us about that.
I can't tell you a lot about
Okay.
them. They are totally in support of this mission to get children to eat healthy food.
Hmm.
They are helping fund our efforts somewhat.
Hmm.
And I really can't go into any more about it than that,
Okay.
but they're located in the Midwest, and I would throw rose petals at their feet for the support that they've given this project and their commitment to helping children eat healthy food.
And are you getting any resistance to those efforts?
The resistance comes in silence. It is that people don't talk about this. They don't promote it. They don't make it known. There's not posters in schools on the walls saying, try the plant-based lunch option today. That's not there. Um, I think that's really the resistance we've seen so far. It's the best kept secret, you know, is where we see the change, the
There,
challenge.
there are some colleges, a few, I think a couple maybe in England, that have made the default meal vegan. And if you want to eat meat, you have to ask for it.
Right.
Um, can you tell us anything about that? Are you aware of those programs?
Two things I can tell you about that.
Yeah.
I want to say it's in Scotland, maybe
Okay.
University of Glasgow, I've heard,
Okay.
is doing that. I don't know how well it's gone or how far it's gone or how deep they're into it. But again, hats off to you. Kudos and applause for making that the default meal. The other thing that I've heard is about the country of Denmark, that
Yes.
the entire country, there was a declaration that we're going plant-based. Now, just by weird coincidence, I have a son that lives in Denmark.
Oh,
So I have been asking him, what do you know about this? What do you see about this? And he said, well, first of all, in Denmark, people are pretty dedicated to their pork products. I believe there are more pigs in that country than there are people. The other thing is they have, uh, they're very dedicated to animal products in their diet. Very, and a lot of fats, a lot of fats. So one of the things that my son told me is that, for example, get a slice of bread. This is very common. Maybe it's the, our age people and above. I don't know if it happens among the younger people also, but you get a slice of bread and you'll, like put your layer of butter on it, spread butter on it. The butter, you'll know you have enough butter if when you bite into it, you can see your teeth marks left in the layer of butter.
okay.
So they call it teeth butter. That's how much you want, teeth butter. So there is a high rate of heart disease in Denmark. So I applaud them also that at least at the governmental level, they're starting the conversation by saying, plants are important, and that's the direction that we're going. I think that's powerful that it came from at the federal level or at the national level for them. Amazing.
Okay, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with Meryl Fury.
All right, if you've ever wanted to show off your plant based lifestyle and do it in style, here's your chance. We have some of the most amazing t shirts, hats, accessories, coffee mugs, and more at shop.realmeneatplants.com. We have statement t-shirts that will bring a smile to everyone's face. I love the I want tofu tonight tee. Plus, we have podcast tees, Real Women Eat Plants gear, Real Kids Eat Plants, and Real People Eat Plants, just in case men, women, and kids didn't cover it all. Yeah, we love you and love that you want to show off that healthy lifestyle of yours. Again, check out our high-quality gear at shop.realmeneatplants.com and enjoy.
All right, we're speaking with Meryl Fury, the president and CEO of the plant-based nutrition movement. We're talking about raising healthy kids. And Meryl, you have raised 3 kids. So tell us about the challenges you faced and how you met them to try to get your own kids to eat a healthy diet.
Okay, well, let me start by saying I can be a little forceful.
Really?
I know it's hard to believe.
That's
I know
shocking.
you can't imagine. I can be a little forceful. So I have 2 biological children, right? 2 sons. And then I have my bonus daughter who is just daughter of my heart. I I could not have asked for a child more compatible for who I am, right? Um, and I didn't have to birth her. How lucky, right? To get the perfect match. And I didn't have to go through any childbirth with her. So the 2 older ones, clearly I raised from birth, and the well, let me see, my two biologicals, they do happen to be the older ones. I raised from birth, and then my daughter came to us when she was 16 years old. So two, like three different situations. So my older son, when he was born, the oldest one, I was 25-ish, and I was studying herbology. So anytime he got sick, I was giving him herbs, right? So he took more than his share of green smoothies and cayenne pepper and barley grass, and my goodness, pretty
You
healthy.
experimented on him.
I did.
Yeah.
I did, but it was like kind of safe experimentation. It was all
Yes.
golden seal powder. I did all kinds of things. Anyway, he lived to tell the tale, and that's great. He is also a very adventurous eater, not really plant-based. He is not shy away from vegetables at all, but he will also eat like eel and crickets and prairie oysters.
Crickets?
Crickets. He likes to travel. He likes to go to, other countries, and whatever the local fare is, he's willing to try it.
Mm-hmm.
God bless him. I don't know how he does it. He sends me crazy pictures of things that he's eating. I don't understand, but that's okay. Maybe one day he'll stop doing that, or at least stop sending me pictures of it. Anyway, so
Well,
that's,
my wife hates crickets, so she'll be very happy with him.
oh, I don't know how he does it. But anyway, okay, so that was with him, he ate what I provided, not a problem. Always a lot of vegetables. And then, when he got older and moved out of the house, the rest of it was, on him. He made his own path. The next one is actually a very good cook, was always interested in being in the kitchen from the time he was maybe 2 years old. He would come in the kitchen when I was chopping vegetables or whatever, and he would want to chop. He would want to help. So he's been cooking almost his entire life, literally. He is now 24. And this is the one that lives in Denmark. Amazing cook, and he is plant-based. The only time that he will eat animal products, he's very cautious. If he's over somebody else's house and they're having whatever they're having, he doesn't want them to have to make a fuss or go out of their way just for him. So he'll eat whatever they provide, or whatever they're having for dinner or whatever. But on his own, he is plant-based all the time. 100% of the time, and makes some amazing meals. Like, he sends me pictures of stuff that he's created. And really, my first thought is, why aren't you home here in the United States cooking for me while you're making these things? Because he makes amazing things. He is also Muslim. This is a new path he's taken right now, practicing practicing Ramadan, I guess is how you'd say it, observing Ramadan. So eating within the time constraints applied by the religion. So he's doing really well. He eats plant-based primarily, I think, for health reasons. And because he sees that there's no reason to eat animal products. It doesn't contribute anything of value for him. He doesn't need to eat that. And he's very into caring for his body. And one of the things that he's come to since beginning to study Islam and practice the Muslim faith is that, what so many of the religions say, that the body is sacred, that the body is to be kept clean and healthy and honored and cared for. And eating animal products and junk and ultra processed food doesn't do what is dictated by a lot of religions, right? It does not care for the body. So he's plant-based 99.9% of the time. Excuse me. My daughter had, an interesting journey. So when she came to live with us, it was because her mom, who is a friend of mine, was moving out of town, and her Monique wanted to stay in the town where she had grown up. She wound up coming to live with us and finishing high school while she stayed with us. When she came to us, Monique had particularly picky habits about what to eat. She would only wanted to eat like white pasta with butter or with Parmesan cheese on it. Or Kraft macaroni and cheese was a big favorite, chicken nuggets. In fact, one day I asked her, so what do I feed you, honey? I don't, I'm at a loss. I don't know what to do. And she said, just feed me like if I was a 5-year-old. This was a 16-year-old girl. I was like blown away. Like, I don't know what to do. And I didn't want to rupture the relationship that we were developing. I gave in. It was like, okay, I've got to feed you something. Okay, it's white pasta and mac and cheese. And then over time, she came kind of out of that shell. And now she is same age as my younger son. She's 24 and she's a competitive athlete. She's does Brazilian jiu-jitsu and she rode on the crew team for her college for 4 years, 5 years. She rode right through her master's program. Now she is the manager or coach for the crew team, the women's crew team. And she is very serious about her nutrition. So she's now baking her own bread and, eating Brussels sprouts and kale salads. And it's like a total transformation for her. It's amazing, just amazing. Um, she's about, I'm going to say 5'1" or 5'2". She's not big as a minute. And I would go anywhere with her, her functioning as my bodyguard. She will just take a person down if it comes to it. She's amazingly strong. Um, so yeah, I think when it comes to raising your own kids, it's just a matter of continually offering them other options and remembering that we are parents. We're not necessarily the child's friend. When we can be their friend, that's a bonus. But for the most part, we're there to put guardrails on life and keep them alive and teach them how to eat well and make it to the next phase of life. And that includes eating lots of fruits and vegetables and fiber and whole grains and nuts and seeds and mushrooms and um, as well as being discerning about who you're spending your time with and where you're choosing to go and, you know,
Right.
what you think is valuable. And I mean, parenting as a whole is a lifetime. It's a world, it never stops.
How about that psychological issue I raised before about standing apart?
Yeah.
Because in our society, if you're going to eat a healthy diet, you almost have to stand apart.
Mhm. Mhm.
There may be some vegan commune somewhere you can join, but other than that, you're going to be standing apart.
Yes.
And how do you talk to kids about the value of that?
Wow. You know, my dad used to tell me, and at the time I probably didn't get the full weight of what he was saying, but he used to tell me, be a leader. Even if you are a leader of one, be a leader. You don't have to go with the crowd. You don't have to try and fit in. Just, you know, manage yourself and what's best for you and let everybody else figure their own stuff out. I think that, looking back on it, that was pretty sage advice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, to be able to stand apart, to be able to weather what that is, to do what you know is best for yourself in all kinds of situations, not just food, right? Because there's all kinds of offers that come across for everybody all day. And especially when you're a kid, there's people offering all kinds of garbage that you shouldn't get involved in.
Now, you didn't grow up on the plant-based diet. You came to it as an adult. So tell us about your thought process as you began to discover, wait a minute, these foods I'm eating over here aren't healthy, and these foods over here are healthy. And the society I'm in, the medical system in which I work, is not reinforcing these lessons. At what point did that become a kind of rebellion
Mm.
that you were making a conscious decision to stand apart.
Well, all right. So I started this journey when I was 15, right? Like I said. So I've been standing apart a long time,
Mm-hmm.
long, long time. And it is, in fact, how I recognize myself.
And that was an emotional or moral thing about eating animals, right?
It was neither.
Oh no.
No. I stopped eating, and it started with mammals. So I stopped eating the four-leggeds
Mm-hmm.
because at that time, when I was 15, the cost of meat started to skyrocket. It started getting very expensive. And my mother was complaining all the time about how expensive it was.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we used to eat 3 square meals a day. And one of the corners of the square was animal products, meat, right? There's milk, and then there's vegetables, and there's a starch, and fruit was an afterthought. But that that's how it started for me. It was because my mother was so distressed
Mm-hmm.
about the budget. I offered to stop eating meat, and actually I committed to stop eating meat to relieve her of that budgetary problem, or at least to do what I could at that age. So I grew up, you know, that was a commitment I made over a long time. When I became a nurse, now I'm going to jump to that. Nursing school, and we know by extension medical school, does not teach us anything really about nutrition. I took a nutrition course trying, in preparation, actually, is before I even thought about going to nursing school. I took a nutrition course at the university level, and it did not really teach me anything about using food as medicine or to prevent illness. It taught about, the micronutrients like vitamins and minerals, and then the macronutrients, which are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. And that's what we learned. Very sort of compartmentalized view of nutrition. There was nothing much in it about fiber, except for it helps you poop. There was a little bit about water. Yep, you need water, but it didn't. There was no discussion of using food as medicine or how food contributes to a healthy body, or the converse, that eating too much junk could be possibly detrimental. Then going into nursing and being that in that profession, um, it's amazing. Speaking of marketing, the number of pharmaceutical reps that pass through a clinic or a healthcare space, and the type of gifts that they leave for the healthcare professionals there. So it could be anything from 24 donuts, oh my, or cakes, or if it's, oh my gosh, the holiday season, chocolates and pies and cakes and cookies, and every so many weeks, or there's a drug rep lunch where they're bringing in, I'm not even going to name the variety of restaurants and what all they're bringing, so that you'll sit down and you'll listen to their latest spiel on the newest medication. So the healthcare professional staff is continually fed all kinds of not healthy foods. And, when you look at nurses in particular, we're 4.2 million, I believe, registered nurses. And then there's a whole set of people who are, LPNs or nursing assistants within the nursing realm, we'll call that. So even at 4 million, let's say, people in the healthcare workforce, nurses are the largest component of the healthcare workforce. And we are also among the least healthy, right? We're encouraged to work long hours. We're encouraged to not go to the restroom because that patient needs your help. You're encouraged to do double shifts and not sleep. And then there's all this horrible food that's pumped through the clinic space, right? Or the hospital space. If you can't get lunch because your charting's not done, or because this patient's crashing or something's going on, well, here's these cheese crackers or these peanut butter crackers or this, glazed donut or whatever. So at some point, if you're paying attention, it's you can start to see that the healthcare environment itself is not healthy, it does not promote health, it promotes illness. And that, when the healthcare professional can look and see that, that is an opportunity for a light bulb moment. What am I doing? What am I doing to myself? I am causing my own high blood pressure. I am causing my own depression. I am causing my own heart disease. Oh, I'm I'm causing my own obesity, right? I'm
Yeah.
doing these things to myself. So um, those are valuable insights when we could kind of wake up long enough to have them, and then stay awake long enough to um, to just change that whole dynamic.
Right. You remind me of Dr. Kim Williams' line, which is, I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want it to be my fault.
Right. Right. I'm not here to kill myself. I got children.
Yeah.
Right. I got things to do. I've got things to do. I don't want to eat myself to death.
Yeah. And that for me is one of the leading moral arguments for a whole food plant-based diet. People think of the moral argument being to to save the animals, and I don't disagree. What we do to the animals is cruel. But it seems to me that the moral thing to do when there are people who depend on you and people who love you and people you love is to do your best to stay healthy for them.
That's right.
And we know how to do that. We can't claim that we don't know that. There's nobody out there, I don't think, making the case that sausage is healthier than broccoli. At
Right.
least I hope not.
Right. Right. Well, there's probably a few just because,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? But so true.
Yeah.
Just about a year ago, my husband had a heart attack, right? After living with me for 25 years. Oh my goodness. Like, how could that have happened, right? But that is one of the conversations that we had was, okay, for 25 years, I have talked to you at least once a week, at least, about your diet, right? The cheese pizza and the sausage and the cheeseburgers and all that. It's predictable how that's going to end, right? That we know how that goes. And I told him, okay, so I would never do that to myself, knowing that you would be left to take care of the fallout. I just wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do it to myself, and I wouldn't do it to you.
Right.
As the repercussions of a heart attack or a stroke or diabetes or cancer, those can overwhelm a family, right? That can devastate your finances. It can just change your life, literally, financially, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally. It's overwhelming. So I like to tell people that are willing to hear it, take care of yourself. If not for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones. Nobody wants to deal with that kind of fallout.
Right.
It's horrible.
Is your husband eating a better diet now?
He most certainly is. He had a heart attack and he had the light bulb moment. Whoa, the angels sang to him and he understood. So
So
now,
what do you like to eat and what does he like to eat now? What are some of your favorite
oh
foods?
my goodness.
Maybe to
Well,
share together.
just for giggles, so we just started this week. We're going to every pizza place
Hmm.
in Southeast Wisconsin
Okay.
looking for the best vegan pizza.
Okay.
So this is cheese country. It is also beef and cow country. So we're going to little restaurants. This is usually, we go out every Friday night anyway, it's date night, and we're looking for the best vegan pizza.
Now,
So
when you do that,
yeah,
do you say no cheese or do they sometimes offer a vegan cheese and you go with that?
they sometimes offer a vegan cheese, but we do not take that.
Right. So you do what I do. You just say no cheese. No, I don't even want your vegan cheese because it's loaded with oil.
Yeah,
Right?
no, no,
Yeah.
no. So last night we went to a little place we'd never been to before. We got there one available vegan pie, right? Uh,
Okay.
which had really great red sauce, basil, some roasted red peppers, mushrooms, artichoke hearts, black olives, onion. It was delicious. It
Yeah.
was great, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something that we do together. We enjoy, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes what my wife and I do when we decide to have a pizza, a commercial pizza that we're getting from some pizza place, is we say no cheese, and maybe we choose one topping like artichokes or something. We take it home, but we've already prepared at home lots of healthy vegetables
Yeah.
because we trust the way we prepare vegetables more than the way they prepare the vegetables. So then we leave it to them to give us the base of the pizza, but we
Right.
add on a bunch of vegetables.
Yeah. That's pretty brilliant, actually.
All right. Now, besides the pizza, what do you and your husband like to eat?
Let's see. We are large mushroom people. So we'll
So
have,
you only eat large mushrooms,
yes, we like large mushroom,
big portobello
big
mushrooms,
portobello mushroom
not little
cats are good.
shiitake mushrooms.
I also like shiitakes and I
Oh,
also like almost any other kind.
okay.
Like oyster mushrooms or
Okay.
chanterelles or any of those. But some of those more exotic ones are a little bit harder to come by up here anyway.
Hmm.
So we'll make portobello mushroom cap burger. We can do that on the grill. We can do it in the air fryer or however we choose to do it. Make that a burger. Uh, I'm a big beans and rice person. I
Yeah.
love, give me black bean chili. I could eat that a long time.
Yeah.
Um, or you know, like a Cuban black bean soup or a Costa Rican gallo pinto. I love that. Jeff is also good with those things. I'm trying to think what is something that he really enjoys. Oh, so I have a soy sensitivity. I don't do well with soy, but there are now some commercially available other types of tofu. So there's a chickpea tofu that I find locally. Mash that up and make a Mediterranean style tofu scramble is good. It's got basil and roasted bell peppers and some garlic, some onion. I'm trying to think what else is there. A little turmeric to make it yellow. That lemon is in there too. Little oregano, I think, is in there. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, Jeff enjoys that. He likes hummus. I tend to make it kind of chunky, so it's not the totally smooth pureed version. It's mashed with a fork or a potato masher. I do
Uh-huh.
tahini in it, lemon, garlic, parsley, scallions. Mash that up. He likes that. Yeah. So and it's taken something for him to convert his palate, but he's doing very much better now than he was a year ago, right after his heart attack, for sure.
Great. Great. And favorite desserts?
Can I just say I love chocolate chip cookies?
Oh,
I love chocolate. If I
so
had to have a drug, my drug of choice would be chocolate chip cookies. So what I do with them is use rolled oats as the primary part of the base for them. Mash in a ripe banana, some vanilla, some um, peanut butter, some grated apple, and then mix in some, did I say cinnamon? Mix in the chocolate chips and bake that. And that
all right.
is wonderful.
So you get dark dairy-free
Oh, yes.
chocolate chips.
Yes. In fact, I found some chocolate chips. Not only are they soy free and dairy free and allergen free, they are only sweetened with dates.
Yes, those
Yeah.
are available now. And in fact, um, Chef AJ is coming out with a new book called Sweet
Oh,
Indulgence,
yes.
in which she recommends those date sweetened, sugar free, dairy free
Uh,
chocolate chips.
they are
Not
really
as the basis of your diet,
great.
but just as a
Here and
little
there.
treat once in a while.
Yes. Here and there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Meryl, it's been a pleasure speaking with you as always. And
Yes.
it's good to see you. And I'm glad your husband is doing well and finally listening to you, Jeff.
Comes the dawn.
Yeah. Listen to the woman, Jeff.
Right? Come on.
All right. Anything you want to tell our audience about where to go online to find some of the enterprises you're involved with?
Sure. So our website is pbnm.org. That stands for Plant-Based Nutrition Movement.org. You can go there and find a lot. Our newsletter and blog and, everything that we're up to with kids is there. We will be, I'm sure Glenn I'll have to get more information to you about the Sage Circle Alliance. That should be coming up soon. Not quite ready for full publication right now, but I'll get that to you as soon as that's ready. Look at more plants on platesil.com to find out about what's going on in Illinois. I'm so proud of that work. So, so proud. I'm so grateful that we've had the opportunity to make that kind of difference for children in Illinois. And by extension, if anyone is interested in doing similar work in their state, or they're interested in getting a program for children into a school, I would be so happy to, have those conversations, provide any support I can to just continually move the mission forward. It's way bigger of a project than any one of us can do alone. We cannot do this work alone. We have to collaborate. We have to link arms. We have to work together. And I am honored to do that work with anyone who's interested.
Well, thank you, Meryl, for all you do. And we will see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Glenn. You take care.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
This has been the Glenn Mercer Show, where everyone listening turns vegan, regains their health, and annoys their friends and relatives. Find us on YouTube at The Glenn Mercer Show and across all your major podcast platforms. Don't forget to subscribe.